Hi, this is Sandy Shellis, and evening all. Tonight, I wanted to do my own little version of this whole thing that's been going on the internet and going around the climate change circles. And I follow a lot of things online. I follow on Twitter. I follow Michael Mann. I follow Yale Climate Connections. I follow Peter Sinclair. I follow Torstein Viddal. I follow Jennifer Hines. We're friends. I follow Extinction Radio. I follow all kinds of things. I'm a discerning person when it comes to a lot of this stuff, and a lot of us are, right? Okay. But there's this little controversy. I guess it started maybe with the video Jennifer Hines made years ago on methane, the methane situation. Time bomb. Oh, I had it. Where is it? That's immaterial. It was well researched. She did it. Jennifer is hardly a conspiracy theorist. And this is sort of where I'm going. I want to make a couple of analogies before I read the article. All right. And say hi to some people so we can. Hi, Jeff. Okay. We'll go on. And hey, Rick, how are you? And Buddy. It's great. We've got some people here. And hi, Torstein. Torstein's a guest of honor, but he's not with me. It's just things that occurred to me. And Ed's here. Hi, Ed and Kim. These are things that occurred to me about Torstein. Torstein is really bright, Torstein Viddal. And he's got YouTube going south. And he started his website is called Frozen Earth. And being that, I'll tell you, I worked in university research. Higher ed for a very long time, 20 years. I was a professional administrator. I worked with researchers. I know scientists. I did this. And my question to start is, do you always have to be associated with a university to know what you're doing or what you're talking about or to be a researcher? No. And that doesn't necessarily then mean the person is a conspiracy theorist. And the same thing for Jennifer. But I have an analogy with this before I start. And hi, Nick. How are you? Nicholas Humphrey's with us. I have this analogy I thought of about this. And because the mainstream media, I will say, this video was put out by Yale Climate Connections by Peter Sinclair, who I have lots of respect for. I mean, I follow them. I learned from all of them. And then it was showing, it's depicting this young woman who is actually very nervous and anxiety ridden. And she's sitting there and she's talking about the fact that and I didn't even know this was looked at like a conspiracy. She's following this stuff and she's all scared that, oh my God, there's a methane bomb. It's going to go off any minute. And I mean, this girl obviously doesn't do her homework. You know, she was following. Peter got the video, made it for Yale Climate Connections, made it look like people that were following this were putting out this information are not accurate or not right. Now, that's not true because I learned about all this from Natalia Shkova, a scientist who is with the University of Alaska, Natalia Shkova. I'll put up links. And some time ago, another online person was writing about her. Now, she's a scientist writing about the methane up in the Arctic, right? So my analogy is this. Michael Mann, maybe even Peter Sinclair, MSNBC. Mainstream. Torstein Viddal, Jennifer Hines could be guests on Democracy Now! Progressive. And there's a break in between the two of them. That's my analogy with this. It's like, because Torstein's not affiliated with the university. He lives in Greenland. This is his whole life is Arctic ice. He studies it. He lives it. And it just seems to me that because he's not associated with a university, then his work is anything less than some others, because he uses science and he uses the information from the scientists. So I don't know why this had to go like this. You know, on Twitter, it was even on Twitter, I followed it. I just don't understand why we can't all get along. Okay, there's the golden retriever in me. But I'm just going to do the little thing. That was my analogy to start this, because I guess I had to put my 2 cents in. I have watched Jennifer Hines' videos. I've watched her interviews on Extinction Radio. You know, there's so many things that people think, and to be called cultists because we believe in something. Now, I'm not sitting here saying humans are going to be extinct tomorrow. No, I just don't see, you know, that we're going to pull out necessarily of what we're in, but I don't see that we shouldn't try with solutions. Hey, Nicholas has a comment already. There's a bias against those not associated with academia. And it's sad because there's so many talented people, but there are conspiracy types. You have to be so careful. There's all those other things on YouTube. YouTube is a dangerous place if you don't have a brain. It really is, because you can get really lost in these what's up or what is his name? What's that? These climate denying people, you know, they're just politically motivated. But I'm not. I'm not, and Torstein certainly isn't. And the assertion was made that the people that are not associated with the university or that are talking about methane in the Arctic that is melting, there's plenty of evidence, there's plenty of science out there, and that we're conspiracy theorists, nutbags that shouldn't even be listened to because of one video by one gal. I love science. I love research. Sometimes I might get to a different place than someone else. I'm not a researcher, but for gosh sakes, we're in a big mess. And I do not think that mainstream scientists should be so dismissive of the science around methane or the Arctic melt. No, I really don't. I really, really don't. So let's get started. It all started for me with learning about who Natalia was and Shakova. And the Robert Scribbler article at the time, Arctic Methane Alert, ramp up at numerous reporting stations, shows signature of amplifying feedback. And it was talking about a massive thawing carbon store in the far north. The science is pretty settled. There's a massive store of ancient carbon now thawing in the Arctic. Now, this guy writes, he's not with academia, but he has all of his, you know, always has his links. And that's where I learned about her. And then I went to the University of Alaska and I read about her. So there are scientists that are saying, geez, maybe we're not going to explode tomorrow, but this is happening. It's not a conspiracy theory. And I'm not going to sit there and say, this is not Alex Jones. Alex Jones. This is definitely not. Okay. So rather than keep going, let me read the article from Frozen Earth, Torstein's website. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a short one. And he's got other things up there because he's got this narrative about this whole thing. Oh, excuse me. I just moved everything. I'm going to put up a picture of there it is. That's his website. And here we go. Is Arctic methane a bomb or not? We all know we've got thousands and thousands of nuclear bombs that we can choose whether or not to detonate. The problem about the methane bomb is we don't get to make that decision. And the above is a current map. I don't know how well you can see it. Let me see if I can put this up further. Can you see? Okay. So it's a current map of permafrost area in the Arctic and further south in the northern hemisphere. Most of these areas are now thawing rapidly, and carbon is therefore seeping out both on land and underwater. In particular, the flooded earlier land permafrost area of the East Siberian Arctic Shelf, ESAS, is a concern, as this permafrost is being eaten up by a constantly warming Arctic. But let's start with the basics. Is this so-called methane time bomb a bomb in the normal sense of the word? Obviously, it's not a crafted man-made explosive device. But then, is it able to explode like a bomb? Well, the locals in Siberia have reported hearing loud bangs and seeing fire light up the night sky when these bangs occur, later to find the methane blowout craters on the ground. And we've seen these pictures because all of the places that we get on Environmental Coffee House, and these are not the mainstream media publications, they've all shown this stuff, okay? He says, later to find out the methane craters on the ground. I think it fits the bill of a bomb. But hey, let's be super conservative here and not give that a pass. It is, however, a bomb, or at least a time bomb when you take the full picture into view. No, not the isolated hydrates on a bench in a lab. That's an isolated and reductionistic case, typical of some of the worst kinds of human science tradition. In the full picture view, the thawing over most of the permafrost areas on the map is triggered by planetary warming we've seen already. It's now warm enough for this permafrost to thaw year on year. And as parts of the resulting gas emissions from the thawing process are methane molecules, and the rest mostly carbon dioxide molecules, this thawing inevitably causes more warming. Do you see a problem here? A thawing caused by warming is causing more warming. We got ourselves a warming, self-reinforcing feedback loop. The thaw will increase with the increase in the thaw. The process is clearly out of our hands. We don't control it. And in particular, we don't control the thawing of subsea permafrost that is being done by an already non-frozen Arctic Ocean in the case of the ESAS. As reported by field scientists doing research in that area, these drowned fields of permafrost will continue to thaw and release their methane until the day that the sea above them is gone and they're exposed to air again. And that air needs to be cold like a freezer. In a nutshell, it's a bomb, and we've triggered it already. But it will take much more time than your average Hollywood bomb to explode completely. It still doesn't mean that we are able to defuse it. We can send in the bomb squad, but all they can do is take measurements and selfies with the permafrost. I thought it was really sweet. I like what you wrote, Torstein. And I like the website, so I hope everybody goes there and sees it, that, you know what? Ooh, it's not the boogeyman. This is what's happening. He's not talking about some phantom crap being put in a jet engine. This is science that is happening. Okay, I'll put links up and all that. I mean, I completely am not a scientist. So obviously, I'm not going to talk about all of that. I'm talking about sort of the politics of it. You know, that I can't believe in the science community that there can't be acceptance of other voices that actually are based on research that has come before them. That's it. That's basically it. I want to, there's other things. Really quickly, what I want to do here is just read you a little thing. And this was from the National Snow and Ice Data Center. So this is about methane. there are two potential sources of methane in the Arctic. The first source is called methane caltrate. Methyl caltrates are molecules of methane that are frozen into ice crystals. They can form deep into the earth or underwater, but it takes very special conditions with high pressure and low temperature to make them. If the temperature or pressure changes, the ice that imprisons the methane will break apart and the methane will escape. We're not sure how much methane is trapped in methyl clathrates, or how much is in danger of escaping. The other source is methane in the Arctic, is organic matter frozen in permafrost. This is the source of methane that I study, and this author is Kevin Schaefer. And Kevin is with the National Snow and Ice Data Center. And he is talking about the same things, maybe in a little bit of a different way. And he says, what are the questions the scientists are studying? You know, how much carbon is currently frozen? How much will thaw in the future? I mean, people are doing this. People are doing this. Maybe, you know, I think Torstein has looked at everything realistically. Basically, he's looked at it realistically. And so I really hope everybody will follow Frozen Earth. Let's see what's going on in there. I've pretty much talked out. I just hope that this controversy will go away, and the respect for those that don't happen to be, you know, showing up on MSNBC will happen. That's all. I have respect for all of these scientists, all of them. And what did you say, Torstein? Oh, really sounds sexy. It wasn't boring. I liked it. Hi. Okay. Branko's with us. Let's see. This is a hi to all. And let me take this down. If we are talking about methane bomb in terms of time scale in a few days or weeks, yes, it's possible with volcanic eruption. I don't know. I can't speak English tonight. Of course, we are talking about Arctic methane bomb. In such short time, perhaps can't happen. But release of those 50 gigatons of methane in time of a year, 2 years or more, yes, it could happen, which in geological time will mean also methane bomb, and consequences will be dramatic. That's just my opinion. Hello. You see, but your opinion is probably based on science, right? I'm sure it is. I recognize your name. And Patrick's with us. Patrick is, and here's another person, Patrick McNulty. He's not a conspiracy person. He's got an idea for something that could change the way the Arctic freezes. But it's so hard for him to get an audience because he's not with a university. And I am not a university snob. I loved where I worked, and I love academia. I love it all. I just have a viewpoint maybe that's a little different because I can see both sides, having been in both sides. I'm out here now learning. I'm a citizen's journalist when I feel good enough. And, you know, I just felt like I wanted to do this again tonight. Hi, Heidi. Anyway, Nicholas says the loss of permafrost is another exponential process. It accelerates and piles up until its emissions are overwhelming us, like a tsunami. First waves are small, then the surge comes, and you are swamped more and more, faster and faster. Okay, well, and I really appreciate hearing reality. I appreciate hearing what could happen, but I don't live my life every day walking around going, oh my God, the methane time bomb is going to go off and I'm going to die. And neither should that girl that was in Peter Sinclair's video. I think what we should be doing is action, of course, as much as possible with every ounce of everything, local action, cities, states, countries, you know, but I'm not going to go into that whole thing. No finger pointing. It's out of our hands already. Well, it's just that I have an opinion also. So I really wanted to, let's see, Kim says, all I know is that I'm tired of fighting, trying to make my point to people who don't believe. In science, it's in science, it's really actually not believing, it's understanding what the research has shown and the data has revealed. And my friend Torstein Viddal understands it. He's not making this up off his head, you know? Anyway, guys, we'll make this a short one unless somebody has anything they want to say. I just want you to be able to go to Frozen Earth. I'm going to put some links up. I promise I'm going to put the links up so that you can look at the studies that Natalia has done, so that you can look at, Dr. Shakova, that you can look at the things that I have found. And these are on, also we're on, well, I don't know if the government websites that I used to visit have the same stuff, but it's out there. It's out there. That's all. I just hope that we can take the politics out of the out of this issue. Just take it out. Okay? We have a lot more to worry about. And we can end with Heidi's lovely Happy Valentine's Day. I hope everybody enjoys their night. And thanks for coming. Peace out, guys. Frozen Earth.